not as if scientists haven't taken UFOs seriously. Astronomers have been listening for signs of life beyond our galaxy for more than 50 years. Today, these 42 high-powered radio antennas in Hat Creek, California, continue that search for extraterrestrial intelligence. It's called the SETI Institute. In the movie Contact, Jodie Foster plays a SETI researcher who picks up a signal from outer space. Her fictional character was loosely based on real-life SETI astronomers, like Dr. Jill Tarter.
The chances of success in SETI are difficult to estimate. But if we never search, the chance is 0.
Scientists have yet to make real contact, but some UFO enthusiasts ask, why are these researchers spending millions searching for signals from space when they claim aliens have already been here?
There it is. Oh, I got it. I don't know what the hell it is.
Unlike many of the experiencers we talked to who claim to have seen UFOs,
And I looked out and there was this big red blinking UFO.
or claim they were abducted,
So it went over this way.
It went southeast, basically.
Stan Romanek's story may be the most incredible.
What the hell is that thing?
Not only does he capture his alleged sightings on video,
Do you guys see it too?
he has more independent witnesses,
It was right over our heads, practically.
more documentation, more so-called proof of extraterrestrial contact than anyone else.
All right, we have an extraordinary story out of Denver.
He's appeared on Larry King Live with his video.
Stan Romanek is the man who claims to have shot footage of an extraterrestrial.
But remarkably, Stan says his first ever UFO sighting wasn't even in the dark, but in broad daylight while he was driving his car near Denver's Red Rocks Amphitheater.
As I rolled down the window, it appeared to have noticed me at that point, where it reorientated itself and literally shot up to about 1,000, maybe 2,000 feet in an instant.
Stan says he began seeing UFOs all the time. He could barely look up without seeing some strange light or orb in the sky. Over the years, his wristwatch stopped working. Lights would flicker at his mere presence, and birds would crash into his car.
If you're a true experiencer, a true abductee, you have what's called high strangeness. All these weird, bizarre, paranormal things start to happen, almost like your house is either being haunted or nobody really knows. Wow, that thing's weird. Hey, where'd it go?
It's almost as if you're a storm chaser, like UFOs every couple weeks.
I'd reverse that. It's almost like they're chasing me.
But Stan says he witnessed even more paranormal phenomena. There was a UFO at his workplace. Orbs would follow him home at night. And ultimately, like a horror movie come true, Stan claims they came knocking on his door and woke him up in the middle of the night.
You thought it was kids
Yeah, I
wearing
thought it
masks.
was, well, either kids or very small adults. They were almost a little bit too big to be kids, maybe teenagers.
You thought it was robbery.
Yeah, they were playing a joke or they were here to rob us. As I got closer, I started wondering if they were really masked because I could see the veins in their head, I could see their facial movements, I could see their mouth move, I could see their eyes blink. And I started to get frightened.
So what happened?
Unless you have this happen to you, it's kind of hard to explain, but suddenly a thought popped into my head.
So you think they were communicating with you telepathically?
I can't explain it any other way. I know what I experienced.
Suddenly, Stan says his mind was filled telepathically with unexplained images.
All of a sudden, bam, 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 images, thoughts, images.
And what were the images?
I had images of this horrible catastrophe, you know, winds so strong it's scouring the pavement off the earth, forests burning, devastation to the planet.
So you were seeing scenes from an apocalypse?
From some kind of apocalyptic thing. And when it was over, I'm going, when's this going to happen? Is this going to happen? Is this really going to happen? Because I was pretty much in tears by this point. I was so terrified.
You're convinced that the aliens were trying to send you a message.
That's what this is all about.
And yet, Stan, from somebody who's listening to your story, it sounds like just that. It sounds like something you made up.
If you're a skeptic like I was, and trust me, I was in the same boat you were, it's like, oh, you guys are crazy. But every time I think that, something else happens to prove that I'm not crazy.
Is Stan crazy?
Is he crazy? I don't believe he's crazy. He's absolutely seen something. Things have actually happened to him. I know that, just from talking with him, from seeing some of the evidence. The Garen cattle mutilation case was really interesting because you can...
UFO investigator Chuck Zurkowski says Stan's story is supported by more than just shaky video and grainy photos of bright lights or orbs in the big city sky.
It's one thing to say you've seen something that's unknown. It's another to say, I've been abducted.
Well, you would have the evidence, the physical evidence that's occurred to him. The marks on his legs, the marks on his body, the implants.
That's right, implants. This is just some of the evidence Chuck is talking about. See the dot in that X-ray? Stan claims it was an implant doctors found after a so-called abduction. When ABC News asked for an independent medical assessment of the implant, Stan says it suddenly disappeared. There's also these photos of marks on Stan's body, which he says were the result of alien testing.
And they're usually in triangles, perfect triangles. You can measure them, and they're like an inch by an inch by an inch by an inch.
One could argue, Stan, that these are self-inflicted.
Yeah, they could argue that. I found some on my back, didn't even know I had them. Now, how can I reach on my back? You know? There's always an argument for everything, you know. Just because somebody can fake something doesn't necessarily mean it's faked.
Which brings us to the physical evidence. Stan says he found these photos on his camera after it went missing for a couple of days. Stan actually believes this is the face of an alien.
These are images that were captured on a still camera.
I don't know how they got there, but they were there when he downloaded pictures off our camera.
And what do you make of these?
To me, they look real. I mean, there's so much detail in them. I don't know how they got on my camera, but they look like ETs to me. I mean, what do they look like to you?
You know, I'm a skeptic, Stan, so I think it looks like, you know, I think it looks like, you know, Halloween mask.
Okay. Maybe you're right. But do Halloween masks have that kind of detail?
Well, this looks like it could be shadows.
Could be.
Skeptics argue Stan and others like him are just seeing what they want to see.
How do you know that Stan isn't putting on a great big hoax?
Well, that's the investigative part. You know, I've been to his house. I've talked to eyewitnesses who were there that saw things. I've seen some of his physical evidence, and that's where you start.